Most of what we communicate has nothing to do with what we say. Before we've even spoken a word, before anyone has heard our voices or noticed our smiles, we've likely already been judged by the way we walked into a room or the way we've held ourselves, how our bodies settled or didn't settle into that space. The silent message is one most women never think about, not because it doesn't matter. It may matter more than anything else, but because it operates below our conscious thoughts. In the posture that's become habit, the pace that developed without intention, the hands that fidgeted when we didn't intend them to. That's what physical presence does. It communicates a message one way or the other, and it doesn't always communicate accurately. Today I want to share 7 specific tactics, each one learnable, that allow you to control the message you're sending through your physical presence. Welcome back to Gracefully Lori. I'm Lori. If you're new here, this channel is for women who want to live authentically, express themselves with intention, and move through the world with quiet, modern grace. Today's video is about something that shapes how everyone perceives us even before we've said a word, how we carry ourselves. Not the performance of elegance, but 7 specific, controllable physical actions that shape how the world perceives you. So, tactic 1, posture, the foundation of presence. We don't notice it happening. We hunch over our computer or workspace for untold hours in a day, or we simply tire from our jobs. Without noticing, we gradually collapse. Our shoulders slowly curve forward, our spine soften. We surrender to gravity. It becomes our default position, so it starts to feel normal. And because it feels normal, it never occurs to us to question what it might be communicating. But people notice. A woman that enters a room slightly collapsed reads as uncertain, even when the woman inside it is anything but. That message arrived before she did, but she has no idea it had even been sent. Good posture is the foundation of physical presence, and it works in both directions. You stand tall because you feel confident, and you feel confident because you stand tall. The two reinforce each other, which means we can access one through the other deliberately, even when confidence isn't fully there yet. This isn't about military straightness or artificial rigidity. It's about length, a gentle elongation of the spine that creates space rather than stiffness. When the spine is elongated and the chest is open, the diaphragm opens with it, allowing for deeper, more supported breathing. That physical openness produces a richer, calmer vocal tone. A voice that comes from the chest rather than the throat carries more warmth and authority. Good posture doesn't just change how she looks, it changes how she sounds. That's the foundation, and everything else is built on it. Tactic 2, shoulders, the first signal you send. The collapse doesn't stop at the spine. It travels upward into the shoulders, which round forward and creep towards the ears. It happens so gradually. 1 hour at a desk, one long meeting, one tired evening, that most women have no idea how much tension they're carrying there until someone points it out or they catch themselves in the mirror and don't quite recognize what they're seeing. Rounded shoulders close the body off. They make a woman appear smaller than she is, more withdrawn, more guarded, more uncertain. Not because she's any of those things, but because that's the signal a closed frame sends, whether she intends it or not. The correction is simple, though it requires practice for it to become natural. Roll the shoulders back and let them settle down away from the ears. Not pulled back artificially, not held with effort, simply open. An open chest is a universal signal of confidence and approachability. It communicates before a single word that she's comfortable and confident in the space she's occupying. The frame opens, and with it, everything she's about to say lands differently. Tactic 3, head position, the confidence sweet spot. There's a version of this most women have felt without being able to name it. Walking into a room and letting the gaze drop towards the floor, toward the phone, toward anything that isn't the faces of the people already there. It feels safer, less exposed, less like she's being seen before she's ready. But it communicates something she didn't choose to communicate. A gaze that drops reads as uncertain. A chin that tilts too high reads as arrogant. Neither reflects who she actually is, but both create impressions she'll spend the rest of the interaction working against. The sweet spot is a chin that's level and parallel to the ground, neutral, grounded, combined with a calm, unhurried gaze that moves naturally around the room, not a fixed stare, but genuine eye contact. This position communicates the quiet confidence of someone who is fully present and comfortable being seen. I understood this viscerally the first time I spoke as general chair at a national conference. My job wasn't just to present. It was to set the tone for the entire event. I had to walk to that podium in a way that gave hundreds of people confidence before I'd said a single word. Head up, gaze out across the room, spine tall. One can only imagine what would have happened if I'd done otherwise. Presence begins before the first word. Head position is part of what carries it. Tactic 4, the elegant walk. Most women have never thought about how they walk. It developed without intention, shaped by habit, by height, and other factors. And because it feels natural, it never occurs to question whether it's sending a message. For years, I walked fast, not because I was anxious or rushed, but because I'm shorter, with a naturally shorter stride. And I trained myself early to keep pace with taller people. It became automatic, my default everywhere, always. People started asking me why I rushed everywhere. I wasn't rushing, but my walk was saying otherwise. And no amount of explaining changed what people had already felt when they watched me cross a room. The elegant walk isn't a studied technique. It's simply a pace she has chosen, deliberate and unhurried, with a smooth heel-to-toe motion and a natural arm swing that complements rather than fights the stride. One foot placed slightly in front of the other, creating a subtle, easy movement rather than a heavy, stomping gait. Not too fast, not performed. Tactic 5. Stillness as presence. When most women enter a room, they keep moving towards someone they recognize, towards a drink, towards a phone, towards anything that gives the body somewhere to be and something to do. The impulse is understandable. Standing still in a room full of people feels exposed, conspicuous, like waiting for something that hasn't arrived yet, but that impulse costs something. The woman who commands the room has often mastered one simple practice, the deliberate pause. When entering a space, they stop. They lift their gaze. They take in the room calmly for 2 or 3 seconds before moving toward anyone or anything. It's a small thing. It feels enormous when you first try it, and it communicates something no amount of forward motion can, that she's grounded, comfortable being seen, not in a hurry to find somewhere to be, because she's already exactly where she intended to be. Stillness isn't the absence of confidence, it's one of its clearest expressions. Tactic 6. Sitting, claiming space with grace. Sitting seems passive. It isn't. The moment a woman approaches a chair, how she arrives at it, how she lowers herself into it, how she holds herself once there, communicates as clearly as anything she does standing. Most women drop into chairs without thinking. The body falls where gravity takes it, which often means collapsed posture, a closed frame, and the quiet signal that she's given up the space rather than claimed it. The elegant approach is simply more deliberate. Turn, feel the edge of the chair with the back of the legs, and lower yourself with control. That single moment of controlled descent signals composure before she's even settled. Once seated, toward the back of the chair if possible, because it naturally encourages a straight spine. For women who are petite, it's often more comfortable and elegant to sit towards the edge of the chair. In either case, knees come together, slanted gently to one side, and ankles crossed. This sitting position reads as poised. Crossing legs at the knees varies by context and culture, but is rarely considered more elegant than crossing at the ankles. For the arms, elbows rest slightly on the armrest, forearms extend forward, hands easy at the edge. This takes up space in a way that projects confidence without aggression. Avoid folding arms across the stomach, which closes the frame she's just worked open. Sitting is not a rest from presence. It's simply another expression of it. Tactic 7, hands, the quiet anchor. Of all the things the body does without permission, the hands are the most visible. They fidget, they reach for hair, they pick at nails or tap surfaces or adjust things that don't need adjusting. None of it is intentional, which is precisely the problem. When the hands are left without direction, they find their own, and what they broadcast to the room is almost always some version of the anxiety the rest of the body is trying to conceal. I learned this in a meeting early in my career. I was nervous but trying not to show it. I only realized my fingers had been tapping the table when I glanced at my manager and found him watching my hand. I stopped immediately, but the message had already been sent. The solution isn't to force the hands into stillness, it's to give them somewhere intentional to be. A quiet anchor that removes the need to fidget by resolving the question of where they belong. When standing, that anchor might be a light hand on a bag, a glass held with easy composure, or fingers brought together softly, almost as though adjusting a ring. When seated, the lap is the natural anchor. The hands rest there, calm and still, unless being used to gesture with purpose. That one small decision settles more than the hands. When they have somewhere deliberate to be, the rest of the body relaxes around them. Composure naturally follows. So, how a woman carries herself is the first message she sends, before her words, before her clothes, before anyone has formed an impression of anything else. And for most women, that message has been largely unconscious, shaped by habit, by exhaustion, by years of simply not thinking about it. 7 tactics, each one specific, each one learnable. Posture that creates the foundation. Shoulders that signal openness before she speaks. A head position that communicates groundedness. Movement that is unhurried and chosen. A pause that signals self-possession. A seated presence that claims space with grace. And hands that anchor rather than betray. None of these require perfection. They require attention, once deliberately, and then practice until they become simply how she moves through the world. Not a performance of elegance, the real thing. Which of these 7 tactics feel most immediately relevant to you, or which one surprised you the most? Please share in the comments. I love to hear your thoughts. And if this resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe. It helps other women find content that might be meaningful for them too. Until next time, my graceful friends.